Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Matt's Geek Corner. So recently EA has been the exclusive company to make Star Wars video games. That all changed on Monday when Disney announced Lucasfilm Games. Now, what is Lucasfilm Games? Well, that is similar to how Sony has their worldwide studios and they have all their games from Spider-Man, Last of Us, Uncharted, Ratchet & Clank, Horizon. All their first-party games are under one roof. So that's kind of what Disney is doing with the Lucasfilm games, but it's not going to be exclusive to one system. At least we don't know, and I'll talk about that in a few minutes. But they announced that all of their Star Wars games are going under one roof, and I'm not sure if EA is still going to be working on Star Wars games, but what this means is that Disney is going to go to other companies. So we've already had Bethesda and Ubisoft announced as two companies that are working on two different games. They could, if they wanted to, go to Sucker Punch and say, hey, we want to work on this game and we want it to be set in the Mandalorian universe. Or they could go to Rockstar and say, hey, we want to have this game, but we want it to be set in the, as you know, Jedis versus Sith. Or vice versa. You know, they could do a Ghost of Tsushima style Jedi game and a Red Dead Redemption style Mandalorian game. That would be awesome. That's just wishful thinking, but that would be awesome. Now, why am I excited about this? Well, because back in the 90s and the early 2000s to mid 2000s, maybe up till about 2013, LucasArts made so many different games. They had so many different companies working on their games. Ubisoft did work on a few of the handheld games, Lethal Alliance, and I remember Capcom did the Game Boy version of Empire Strikes Back. JVC did the Super Star Wars games on Super Nintendo. Factor 5 did the Rogue Squadron games, as well as Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine and Indiana Jones' Greatest Adventures on the Super Nintendo. I stand corrected. Infernal Machine was the one they worked on for the N64, not the PC. So I think it's cool that we're going to get all these game companies working on games again. Unfortunately, Factor 5 is no longer around, so we probably won't get another Rogue Squadron style game unless, you know, they somehow decide to re-release the old Rogue Squadron games from the N64 and the GameCube. That might have to be a Switch, like a Nintendo Switch game or a Nintendo Switch thing, because I'm not sure if they have the right to release those games on other consoles since they were on Nintendo only. But, you know, Factor 5 did work on a PS3 game, Lair, and we don't talk about Lair, but they worked on that one too. So it's possible that they might say, hey, you know what, we'll pay you this money if you let us release the games on multiple platforms. Now, we got announced this week, or just recently announced, was a Star Wars open world game from Ubisoft, from the Division directors or Division team. Not sure how that's going to work. Me personally, I would hope it'd be more like Assassin's Creed with a Jedi, you know, or just any type of Star Wars character, but make it like Assassin's Creed style. If it is more like the Division, I hope there is at least like a single player portion to where if you don't want to play with a team, you don't have to. You can just play single player by yourself. When you think about it, Jedi Fallen Order was kind of like that, where certain enemies were a little bit harder and you couldn't fight them until you were leveled up a little bit more. So doing it in a Division style gameplay makes sense. I think that would be a really cool idea, but I'm also definitely open to the Assassin's Creed style, or shoot, even if they wanted to do it like a Splinter Cell style game where you're a bounty hunter and you're going on stealth missions. I think that would be cool too. Again, like I said, Mandalorian, I'm just, you know, I got my Grogu cup back there. I'm all for a Mandalorian game. I am all for it. No matter who makes it, I'm down. I hope that we also see some of the, you know, older canceled Star Wars games come back, you know, resurrect them, bring them back. 1313, whatever the game from Visceral was, Bring it back. Hell, give it to another company if you want to. I know EA was working on it. Not 1313, that was LucasArts, but if they wanted to bring that back and bring back Force Unleashed 3, because that was also being worked on, and that was probably the last Star Wars game that I actually played before the studio closed, because 1313 was being worked on after that, and that was supposed to be like an Uncharted style game where you're playing as Boba Fett. It looked amazing. I loved the gameplay I saw for it, and then when Disney bought LucasArts, they just canceled it. All games that were in development got canceled. So, I mean, the idea of Force Unleashed 3 makes sense. I've been hearing rumors that they're talking about bringing that back as well. Not entirely sure how that's going to happen, but the news that made me the most excited and I like lost my mind was the announcement of an Indiana Jones game, not only from Machine Games, but from Bethesda. So the possibilities are endless on that one. It could be an open world. It could be a linear game. It could be a little bit of both. It could be the levels are so huge and vast that it's kind of sort of open, but it's not. So similar to, say, Wolfenstein Youngblood, where that was a little bit of an open world, but you could still do objectives, you know, in different spots. And some enemies were tougher, or some areas were tougher if you weren't that level yet. So doing that would be cool. I would hope that they give you the option, though, to... since it's Machine Games and they're known for making first-person shooters, I would wonder if it would be a first-person game or a third-person. Now, I'm thinking with Todd Howard working on the game as well, he'll probably add the option to make both first and third-person. It's also Todd Howard. I'm not sure if there's going to be glitches all over the place, but we'll see. So... I like the idea. I'm excited. We have not had an Indiana Jones game since Staff of Kings, and we were supposed to get the Staff of Kings on 360 and PS3, but LucasArts canceled it to focus on Force Unleashed 1. They really needed to get that game out the window, and that's the one that they were trying to get. That's the one they were banking on the most, that they were promoting the most and pushing the most. So they wanted to get that one out first. And then, unfortunately, Staff of Kings suffered a cancellation. It was released on the Wii and the PS2. Not a very fun game. I played a little bit of it. I'm going to try and finish it. But it is definitely a game that I just couldn't get through. Same with the Lego Indiana Jones games. And part of that was because they didn't have voices. I didn't like the grunts and the noises they made. I just couldn't do it. So, Emperor's Tomb was the last great Indiana Jones game I played on the original Xbox and PS2. So, I'm excited to see how that goes. And I'm just excited to see what other games they announce, because they've said there will be more announcements throughout the year. Maybe they'll be bringing back some old games, you know, maybe not. But it just... I'm interested to see where this goes. Shoot, if they want to have Arcane Studios work on some games too, they make some great games. Prey was another great game. They could definitely make a Star Wars game. You know, the Prey was set in space. Dishonored, they could do a game like that where you have powers. You know, it could be a Jedi game. I don't know how a Jedi game would work in first person, but you know, we'll just see. But that's about all I had on that. So let me know what you guys think down below. If you're excited for this news, if you're on the fence about it, if you're confused, let me know. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit that thumbs up, ring that bell to be notified of when videos go live. Share with your friends and family. And as always, guys, I will see you on the next episode. Y'all take it easy.